Hey guys, welcome to Recraft Relic channel and I hope you all are doing well. So today we are going to build a multi-step forms in VueJS and Tailwind. So let's get started. I already have a VueJS application here. It's a dummy application. You can also get, set it up using Vue CLI. So today we are building a multi-step form. So firstly and foremost, let's create our multi-step component. So I'm just going to go here and create a multi-step.vue file, and let's just create a dummy template here for now. Div, this is multi-step form. All right, and then let's define a script as well. The name will be multi-step, or maybe multi-steps. I think that it's much better. Uh, so I'm just going to rename this to multi-steps.vue. All right, let's import it and use it in our component, in our main component. So import multi-steps from /components/multisteps.vue, and then we'll just go here, register that components multi-step, and then we are just going to use it here. Let me start the application server. I don't think I'm running it right now, so let's just start it. Yarn serve, not server, yarn serve, and it is basically getting started. And in the meantime, let's open our application here in this at the side. So our application getting built for the first time, so it's going to take a bit time. All right, so it's live, and now I can just minimize this one and we can go through with this. Okay, so you can see this is multi-step form. I'm able to render this. So the other thing is that I'm using two additional library. The first thing is Tailwind, right? Tailwind, and the other is Ion icon. So I'm basically using ion icons for the next and previous arrow when we'll have multiple steps, and I'm using Tailwind for styling the whole component. All right, so this is a multi-step form. We'll start by defining our steps. So we'll have different steps. So let's create different steps. I'm going to create a new folder here called steps. Inside that we'll have 3 steps. First is information.vue. The second is about.vue, and the third is profile.vue. So there will be like 3 steps: information, about, and profile. So let's create a dummy or template, like dummy component. So template, and in that I will just say div general information, and then I'll just export it. Script, instead of this, the name of the component will be information, and so there is general information. I think this is fine, and like this we can create other components as well. So about will be tell us about yourself. And the component name will be about, and then the profile.view general information will become customize your profile, maybe customize your profile, and the name of the component will be profile. Now let's import these in the multi-step. So I'll just go here, say import the all of these. Firstly, I'll import the information from /steps information.view, and then I can just copy them. Information will become about here, and here it will become profile. Now let's register these components. Compo information, but now okay, that's fine. Components. So the first will be information, the second thing will be about, the third thing will be profile, and yeah, so this is it. Now the second thing we want to do is, instead of rendering all of them, we want to render one at a time, and for that we are going to use VueJS dynamic component. So I'll show you in a bit how that works, but firstly let's define current step. So what is the current step, So for example, for start it's 0 and it will go inside the data. So let's just do that. Right, and just this. So name multi-step, data written, current step 0, component and all that. Now let's try to render this. So what I can do instead of this, one sec. So instead of this, I can just say component, all right, component, and then say v bind, not like that. So v bind is equal to okay. So before we do that, we have to define that component in another array. So for example, in the data, what I can do is I can keep the array of steps, and in that step we can define component like this, and we can say the first component is information and its label is we don't need the label right now, so let's not worry about that. But yeah, so the next component will be about, and the other component will be, so this will be about, and this will be profile. Let's see if we are able to render this, and we'll say v bind is steps get the current what's happening, steps get the current step, like if it's 0th, get the 0th element, if it's first, get the first element, dot component. So we are basically, what we are saying, instead of defining the component right in the in the template, we are saying that we want to define them dynamically, and it will be controlled by the current step basically. That's fine, it doesn't matter. So now we can go steps about.view element is missing and tag. All right, okay, there is no and tag which we are going to give it. So now what we can do, let me fix this and this as well. So now what we can do is we can go to the multi-step, and you can see the journal information component being rendered. If I make this 1, right, then you can see it's tell us about yourself, and if I make it 2, then it becomes customize your profile. The reason being that we are using a dynamic component, and we can control the dynamic component using this component tag and the vbinders. All right, now other thing is we can also pass props to it, but we'll get to it in a bit. So firstly and foremost, let's design our forms. So for that, I'm just going to increase the width of this a bit. So now let's go into the information and define some of our inputs. So basically, the general information component going to have 4 inputs. First will be name, the second will be date of birth, the third will be age, and the fourth will be email address. So according to that, we will create our structure. So let's go inside the information component and define our form. So let's go. So I defined a div, and inside that I am going to create the input. So first will be a div, and inside div I'm going to define the label. All right, so label, and label for name, and the name will be so the label will be what's your good name, like this. And then I can define an input here, and I can give it some properties. For example, I can say type equal to text, right? I can say type text, name will be name, and the ID will be name as well, to just match it to the label. There will be no use of ID as such. So name, and if we go here, I think it will render, right? Where it is being rendered, I think yeah, so it is being rendered here. It's not visible right now, so let's make it visible. We are using Tailwind, so let's use some Tailwind classes. The other thing is I want it in the next line, so I'm just going to br it like this, right? And then let's style it a bit. So I'm going to give it a class, and let's increase its text font size. Let's make it text to excel. Let's give it a bit padding, and the most important, let's give it border. So border border 2 maybe, to make its border width 2, like this. And the other thing that I want to do is I want to make it rounded. All right, you can see it's rounded now. And the other thing that I want to give is so the theme color that I have used is green, so I'm just going to use that, green 300, and this will become green. I think this looks good, but it's the whole form is not looking good. So let's do one thing. Let's move this to the center. So in order to do that, I'll go into the multi-steps component, right? And this div, I'm going to say class equal to, so width will be half of whatever is the parent. So width 1/2, and then I'll just say am auto to center it, to give it margin auto from both sides, and just center it. So it's auto, and now it's in the center. Your good name and general information is not looking good, so let's style them as well. So for general information, I'm just going to convert this into a P, I guess. So let's convert it into a P, and yeah. So now let's give it some classes. So first foremost, let's increase its font size. Let's make it 5XL. Right, like this. text 5XL, then we can basically make it bold, font bold, right? And then I think this looks good. Then we can basically maybe give it more margin and text center. Text center doesn't make sense, does it? Yeah, it's fine. So let me zoom it a bit out, right? That will be good. Yeah. So general information, right? And you can see your good name and all that stuff. But your good name is also not looking good. So let's style our label as well. So let's define a class equal to, let's make it bold and increase its font size as well. But it's let's give some spacing, into the input. So let's maybe give it margin from top 4, I guess, and let's also give a margin bottom 4. Let's see how that works. So yeah, this looks good now. So now we have this input. Let's just copy and paste to create another input. So let's just do this, and here I'm just going to paste. So we need 4 inputs. So the second thing is date of birth. So I'll just say, when were you born? And this will become DOB, and here as well these both become DOP, and the type will become date. So let's see if that works. Where were you born? Great. Your good name, here I will change it to I'll change it to maybe your good name, where were you born, age, how old are you, let's say how old are you, right? And this will become age, and this one as well become age, and here it can be where we can send you emails, all right? And this will become email, and these both will become email as well, right? Let's save it. Let's see if that works. Good. How old are you, your good name, and date of birth. So it's native date picker. So this is how it looks in Mac, as at least. However, where we can send email. So this looks great, right? But what I want to do is I want to wrap this form in like a box, which has like a box shadow. So let's do that. So this div we already have, right? So we can just say class equal to shadow. So these all classes are Tailwind, so you can go and check out Tailwind documentation to know more about, if you want to know more about these classes. So let's say shadow LG, and you'll see there is some shadow in there. Now I'm just going to give it padding, like padding from everywhere, padding 10, and yeah, this is how it will look. And then I can maybe give it rounded to make its border rounded. So yeah, now it looks good. Now what I want to do is maybe give it more margin. I don't know. I think it's fine. So now what I want to do, I want to render an icon here, which is like next and previous icons. So let's create our next icon here. So here I can just say a button. So a button here, right? And okay, my auto completion is not working. So button, and then I just say so here I'm using ion icons. So I'm just going to use a I and give it a class name, and the class name will be equal to ion arrow right C. Let's see if that works. Yeah, so it works, but the font size is very small, so let's increase that. Class maybe text center padding 5, to give it padding. Let's see if that works. Then let's increase it font size, text 5XL, and let's at the end give it margin from the top. Yeah, so this is how it looks, but what I want it in center. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say this thing. So I'm just going to wrap it inside div, right? Yeah, let's do that. So I'm just going to wrap it inside a div and just say class equal to text center. Okay. Right now nothing happens when I click it. So what I want is when I click on these icons, it should move to the next component, like next step. So let's define a method for that. So we have this. Now I can just go here, define a methods, and just go here, say next, and I'll just say next this dot current step equal to plus equal to 1, right? So let's say just say plus equal to 1 and go here. Let's see if that works. So what basically will happen, I also have to bind it here on the on click. So we on click basically call the next, and let's see if that works. Let's reload the page. So if I click on this, it should go to the next step, which is going to tell us about yourself. If I click again, it will go to customize your profile. So that is working. Now let's also define a previous button. So I'm just going to go here and say previous, previous, and the icon will point to left, right? And let me define the previous method as well. This dot current step minus equal to 1. Let's see if that works. So I click on this icon, and if I click back, it will go back. So you can see our steps, steps working. But the problem with is that on the first slide it shouldn't show, and on the last slide this forward shouldn't show, right? So for that, let's write some conditions here. So if when current step is not equal to 0, so if it's not 0, then only it's not visible. So if current step is not equal to 0, then it will show up like this. If it's 0, like right now, it shouldn't show up. Okay, so now let's also define the condition for this. If current step is smaller than steps dot length -1. So why -1? Because, so for example, if steps is 3, in our case it's 3. So if the current step is 2, then it shouldn't show up, right? Because the index count will start from 0. So 0, 1, 2. At 2 it shouldn't show up. So if step line is 3, 3 minus 1 is 2, it should be smaller than 2 to show the icon. So if I go like this and this, then it shouldn't show up, right? But then I want to show a submit button because I want to submit the information as well, right? So what I will do is I will copy this button, and instead of rendering an icon, I will type text here, submit, and then also give some classes to this. So class equal to, firstly and foremost, I think I'm going to give text as text as 2xl at least. Let's see if that works. Duplicate attribute. Okay, we don't need this. All right, so let's see if that works now. Submit button is here. But what I want to do is I want to give it a BG color. So BG green 300, and then the text will become text white, right? Let's see if that works. Submit. Hot reloading. Yeah, but I have to give it padding and I have to make it rounding. So padding 5 and rounded. Let's see if that works. Right, it works. So now I want to only show this button when the next button is not showing. So I'm just going to say v else. So for example, if current step, if the next icon is being shown up, then it should not show. We can't exist on the same element. Right, so there is a VF. Okay, so because I copy pasted it, right? So now it should only show up when there is the next icon is not being shown up. For example, this, we'll go click, and when we click, you can go back, but here you can only submit, right? So that's good. So now let's define other forms as well and move forward with this. So now in the information.view, we have these forms. So I'm just going to copy and paste this form. Let's do that. And go in the about.view and just paste it. And let's see how that works. It's loading. Yeah. So in tell us about yourself, in the about, we are also rendering the same thing. I also need the same heading, so I'm just like style of the heading. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm not able to copy it. One sec. So copy this, and in the about.view, here paste it and make it a P as well. P here as well, and here as well. P. All right, let's see how that goes now. So it's reloading. Tell us about yourself. And so in tell us about yourself, we'll only have two fields. So the first field is their address and then their gender as well. So let's create a text area here. So this, in the label, I will type where do you live, where do you live, and instead of input I'm going to render a text area. T should be smaller. So I'm going to render a text area. Type will be removed. Name will become address. The ID will also become address here as well. And one other thing that I'm going to, so let's see if that works. And the other thing that I want to do is make it full. So let's make it full. The width to be full of the text area. It's maybe, so hard reloading is like very slow, I guess. Okay. So now let's that is done. Now let's remove all of these because we don't need any of this. So we don't need these two. We only need one for the gender, and gender will be like a radio button. So we'll also get to see how that works. So when were you born? Instead of this, I'm just going to type, just say like, I'm going to write this RUR, and then I'm just going to render some radio button. So input type will become radio. The name will become gender. And the value will be, for the first item will be female. And yeah, let's see how that renders. I think that is taking time. Let me reload this page. In the meantime, we can create other labels as well. So right, and what we need basically is, we also need like this inside a div. The reason being they will all have their own labels as well. So here I'm just going to paste this, indent it, and there will be a label basically which says male or female as well. So label here, I'm just going to say female. See if that works. Yeah, so are you a female? Great. And like this will have three divs: female, male, and other. Female, male, female, male, and other. So let's make this other, and this other as well. Here we'll go male, not here. Here we'll go male, and this will be male as well, right? So now that will render here as well. The other thing that I want to do is I want to so label is like very skinny right now, like it's very thin. I want to make it bold and so it looks good. So let's do that. So label, for example, female label, I can just give it a class and say class maybe, and say text LG to increase its height, and maybe font bold. Right, let's see how that works. So this is the input right now. I think the hot reloading is going on. So yeah, it's building. So it is done now. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, male, female is looking good. And I also need some margin from the left side. So I'm just going to do that. So margin from the left 2, and let's do it for every label. So go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. And just reload the page. So the UI for this page is done. Now we can move on to the next page UI, which is the profile page. So this is loading right now. I click on next. You can see female. I can click on this to select any of these, and now the customize your profile. So now let's go to customize your profile. Let's copy this. Because most of the component will be same. So let's copy this. And go to the profile.view. So instead of that, paste this and change the heading. So customize your profile. Great. Now let's reload this page. So it will so in the customize your profile, there will be 2 fields. So first field will be like a profile upload. So we'll perform a file upload for the profile picture. Then there will be a bio, which will be a text area. So let's do that. Right. So let's go ahead. Where do you live? And if we go in customize your profile, you can also see where do you live and all that stuff. So now we need the text area before the bio. So I'm just going to just say bio here and here as well. And instead of where do you live, I'm just going to say describe yourself. Maybe describe yourself, right? And I don't think I need a full stop. So now that's good, but we don't need these radio button and everything. So I'm just going to remove this. So I'm just going to go and remove this. And now let's create our the profile picture component. Okay, so basically what we have to do, we'll go here and we'll create another div, right? And inside that div we'll have the same label, and instead of this label, what we will do is we will go, instead of bio, it will just make it file uploader, and in the describe yourself, instead of describe yourself, we'll say upload your profile picture, right? And now we are going to define a input here. Input. So the input is basically will be a file input. So let's do that. Input type will be file, and the name will be file uploader, and the ID will be file uploader, right? And I will hide this because we don't want to show it. We'll have like a custom preview for the uploading for the uploader. So I'm just going to hide it, and I'm going to use Tailwind class hidden. Next, I'm going to create another div here, right? And that div basically will have a class, have some classes to basically show this. So firstly and foremost, we'll make it visible, we'll just use green border green 300 and border width 2, I guess. Let's see, and the width will be full, uh you know yeah, so you can see the element, but its height is not there. The height will be, let's say, 72, right? So it basically, it will take some height like this, and we also want some margin from the top, so I'm just going to say empty 4, and we want it to be rounded, so let's make it rounded as well. Now what I want to do is I want to have a icon here, like upload icon, and let's also give it MB4, right? Because I also want some space between the describe yourself and this dev. So margin bottom 4. Now I can go here and add an icon. So icon I'm going to use from the ion icons. So ion icons, the class will be ion upload, and I'm just going to increase its font size. So let's see if that works. And till that is being built, I can also define some text which just says click here to upload. So you can see the icon, but it's like at the top. I want it in the center. So what I'm going to do is this div, I'm just going to say flex. I'm going to say justify center, right? And I'm going to say items center as well, and the flow direction should be column. So they should like come one come at the top and the second at the bottom. So let's see if that works. I think it should. Let's reload the page. I think it's flow. Oh no, it's not flow. I think it's flex call. Let me check. I think it's flex call. Let's reload the page again. Yeah. And for like uploading, what we're going to do is when the file will upload, we'll read the file in the data URL, and then just use it as the source for the image. So I'm going to use an image as well here. So if you go like this, you can see click here to upload. And I also want to like it to be cursor pointer, so I'm just going to say here cursor pointer, right? So now let's go here, and yeah, so it will become cursor pointer. Now let's go back right now. Okay, so now what we can do is so the build is still building, right? And now okay, you can see the cursor pointer, right? So now let's so this is great. Now let's actually store this information, whatever the user is filling here, in our states. So for that I'm going to go to multisteps.view. In the multistep.view, I'm going to keep a state called form value. Okay, form value, and then in the form value, I'm going to define 3 different properties. The first will be information, right? The second will be profile, and the third will be information profile. The third will be the 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 profile will be the third. The second will be about, right? So now, okay, that is good. So information about profile. Now information will have 4 values. This first will be name, which will be by default empty. The second will be age, which will be by default 0. And okay, so and the age will be 0. The third value will be DOB, date of birth, which will be empty as well, and the email, right? So empty email. About will have 2 values. The first will be address, and the gender, right? And the profile will have 2 values. So first will be profile picture, and the profile picture, which will be empty string, and the last will be the bio, which will be empty string, right, as well. So now this form value, so we need to pass this form value to our to our components. So let's do that. So what we are going to do is, inside the form value, this is the component, right? So we're going to just say we bind form value equal to the steps, current step, and dot label. Why we need label, I'm going to define that as well. So just a bit. So label, and we are just going to just form value and this will be a string. Yeah, so this will be string as well. So basically what we are doing, we are binding the form value. This is basically what will happen. Whatever is the current step, it's going to take its label and extract the information from there. So for example, information about and profile. So every component will have its label, right? For example, this will have information, this will have label as about, and this will have label profile. All right, so for example, I'm going to type dummy values here. For example, Manoj, right, and email, for example, just another manoj@gmail.com, right? And what I'm going to do is, now I can go inside the information component and just say, I can just say, it have a prop called form value here, props form value, which will have 4 properties: email, which will be a string, the name, which will be a string, DOB, which will be a string, and age, which will be a number, right? So, and the number will be like a so this will be basically, and now I can use these form values to bind the values to this. So I can just say we bind value equal to form value dot name. Okay, and now I can do the same with everything. So I can just go save, and I'll go here, paste it, right? 1 sec. And I'll make it DOB. So let's try for just 2 of these values, and let's reload the page, and let's see if this works. So it's building right now. Yeah, it's built. Okay, so now we can go here and see if our code works. So you can see, right, the values, the name is already pre-filled because we are passing the value. So this value is basically getting passed here. So now this is the first part of building the the multi-step form. In the next part, what we will do, we will basically try to upload a photo, and we'll also try to save all of the information, whenever we are making change here, update the, parent data and extract the parent data. So for today, this is it. Next Saturday, I'll come up with the next part, and in that part, we'll basically, we'll see how we can save the data which we are entering in this form. So for till then, bye.